People think secrets destroy relationships, but sometimes, it's the keeping of a secret that saves one. I never expected her to show up on my doorstep that night, trembling, eyes red, breath shaking. And I definitely never expected her to whisper the words that would change both of our lives. I can't hold it in anymore. I'm coming out. For a moment, the world froze. Then I told her the only thing I knew she needed to hear: this will be our little secret, until you're ready. That moment was the beginning of a story I never planned to be part of, a story about fear, courage, friendship, and a truth locked away for far too long. Sofia had been my best friend for 10 years, the kind of person who hid her pain behind jokes, who smiled too brightly and laughed too loudly, as if volume could mask vulnerability. People adored her energy, her confidence, her warmth. But I had always known she carried something heavy behind her eyes, something she never let slip, not even for a second. She had called me earlier that evening, her voice thin and breaking. "Can I come over? Please?" I didn't ask why. I just said yes when she arrived. She didn't even take off her shoes. She just walked in, stood in front of me, and collapsed into a tearful confession before I could even blink. "I'm tired," she whispered. "I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of hiding who I am. I'm tired of being scared of how people will see me. I can't hold it in anymore. I'm coming out." Her voice trembled like a child admitting they broke something precious. I stepped closer and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Sofia, you don't owe the world anything. And you don't have to tell anyone until you're ready. This," I pointed between us, "this stays here. This will be our little secret." She broke down crying again, but this time, her tears felt like release instead of fear. That night, she told me everything. How she had known for years who she truly was but had buried it beneath social pressure, cultural expectations, and the fear of losing the people she loved. She told me about the night she stayed awake staring at the ceiling, wishing she could scream her truth. She told me she felt like she had been living two lives, the one the world saw, and the one she lived alone inside her chest. I listened. That was all she needed. Days passed, and something in her began to shift. She started breathing easier, sleeping better, smiling more softly, not broadly for show, but gently, as if she finally had space inside her to hold peace. But accepting her truth privately was only the first step. The fear of the world still haunted her. One afternoon, she confessed, "I feel like I'm living between courage and panic. Some days I'm ready to shout my truth from rooftops, and some days I can't even look at myself in the mirror." I walked beside her in silence before saying, "Courage isn't loud, Sofia. Sometimes courage is just waking up and choosing to be honest with yourself." She squeezed my hand, something small, but something brave. Weeks turned into a quiet journey of her learning how to face her own heart. She wrote letters she never sent, practiced conversations she never had, looked at her reflection for longer than 2 seconds. I watched her grow, stumble, rise, break, and rebuild. Then came the night everything shattered again. She sat on my couch, knees pulled to her chest, tears dripping onto her sleeves. "My mom asked me why I haven't dated anyone in years," she said shakily. I almost told her. I almost said the truth. But I froze. "I feel weak." "Weak?" I said softly. "Sofia, you've carried a storm in your chest for years. The fact that you haven't collapsed is strength." She leaned onto my shoulder and whispered, "I just want to be me. I want to be free." "You will be," I said. "On your time. No one else's." But the fear didn't go away. In fact, the closer she came to telling the world, the heavier her chest grew. She worried about judgment, rejection, loneliness. She worried about disappointing her family. She worried about losing friends. One day, she said, "What if people leave?" And I answered, "Then they were never meant to stay." It was a slow journey, but she kept walking it. And then one night, months after she first whispered her truth to me, she called. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "Can you come over?" she asked. I rushed to her house, heart pounding. When she opened the door, something in her had changed. There was a quiet confidence in her eyes, like someone who had finally exhaled after holding their breath for years. She invited me inside, sat on the edge of her bed, and said, "I told my mom." My heart jumped. "Anne?" Sofia smiled, a trembling, tearful smile. "She cried." I cried. We held each other. She said she already knew. She said she was just waiting for me to trust her. She said she loved me no matter what. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding, Sofia continued. It felt like I took off a mask I've worn my whole life. I sat beside her. I'm proud of you. She wiped her tears, laughter mixing with relief. I'm proud of me too. And for the first time since I had known her, Sofia looked whole, not perfect, not fearless, but honest. And honesty made her shine in a way she never had before. Before I left that night, she said, "Thank you for being the first person I ever trusted with my truth." I smiled. It wasn't a burden, Sofia. It was an honor. In the end, her coming out wasn't about labels or explanations. It was about freedom, about owning her truth, about choosing honesty over fear, about letting herself finally breathe. And the world didn't fall apart when she came out. It opened up, because sometimes the bravest stories begin with a trembling whisper, "I can't hold it in anymore." And the most powerful answer is simply, you don't have to. You're safe.